Ladies, gentlemen, creatures of the deep, hello. It is me. I am back to talk about football. So, the preseason is now over. I had my weeks messed up, apparently. I was informed last night that the Cowboys-Bucks game is actually next week. For some reason, I thought it was this week. I was hoping it was going to be this week because I want to watch some goddamn football. So preseason is now over. Roster cut downs, all that stuff's beginning today. So let's talk about what I remember from the Eagles-Jets game, because I actually meant to do this video a little while ago, and I just things and stuff, and it didn't happen. But so we're here. First off, holy shit, we didn't beat the Jets in a preseason game. I didn't think that was illegal. Well, I guess we didn't lose. So here's the thing. Tying is obviously lame. It sucks. In the preseason, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care. I do think they should take ties out of the regular season, though. I think it's really dumb. So, none of the starters played. Understandable. It's the last preseason game. Last thing you need is somebody getting hurt. I get it. Joe Flacco looked, I thought, very good. I was pretty impressed with how well he played. Nick Mullins, not really. I didn't expect him to make the roster anyway. There's been a trade now for Gardner Minshew, so I assume that means that we're keeping 3 quarterbacks. Okay. Either way, I knew Mullins wasn't going to be on the roster. Whether we kept 2 or picked up another one and kept 3. Mullins was just... he was so bad. What I want to know... Remember his first few games he played with the 49ers, and he was, really, really good, and everybody was freaking out, and then he's got his Twitter page verified, and... What the hell happened to that kid? Where is that Nick Mullins? Flacco's still about what I figured he was. Joe Flacco to me is still, what you saw in that game against the Jets, that's about what Joe Flacco is. He's obviously not his 2012-13 elite form. He hasn't been that for a little while. But he's people look at him, when he was playing backup for the Jets, he's not that bad. Or the game we played against, I guess it was New England the other day? Is that week 2? Yeah, it was New England. Joe Flacco's not actually that bad. He had a bad game. He's not actually that bad, though. So, I really think what we saw Friday night was a pretty good representation of Joe Flacco and what Joe Flacco can do. He's, at this point, could he be considered a backup? Yeah, probably. Could he start for teams who are desperate for a quarterback? I think so. Will he make a serviceable fill-in? God forbid Jalen Hurts gets hurt. Yes. Are we going to win the Super Bowl with him? I kind of doubt it. But this team's not winning a Super Bowl this year anyway. Get that one out of your head. Now, with that being said, I do like the Gardner Minshew trade quite a bit. I don't think it's a bad idea to keep 3 quarterbacks, especially when the guy you want to be your starter is at best unproven. We could be 6 weeks into the season, and Jalen Hurts might suck. And the coaching staff might be sitting down and saying, all right, look, Hurts is playing terribly. We got Joe with experience. We got Minshew with some experience. We know what each of these guys can be. We've seen them play. We've seen Minshew in a number of starts at this point. We kind of know about what he is. We know about what Joe Flacco is. So, I think, that's a possibility down the road. So it might not be a bad idea to keep 3 quarterbacks just in case that has to happen. Hell, Jalen Hurts could suck in 2 weeks in. Freaking Eagles fans will be calling for his head. That seems to be how this fan base works. Although I will say, I was Eagles Twitter. I was proud of you. I didn't see a whole shit ton of bitching about the preseason game. I just assumed that a lot of people who didn't want to watch it didn't watch it. So, kudos to you guys. I enjoyed it. I got enjoyment out of watching it. But again, to me, it's football. It's preseason football. It's still football. I'm watching backups play. Okay, I know what I'm getting. I'll tell you what, it was funny because the Joe Flacco-led offense was very good. Put up a bunch of points, put up a bunch of yards, the numbers were good, everything looked smooth. And then in came Nick Mullins, and the whole team just kind of took a nosedive. I will say our third string guys were, obviously most of those guys aren't even going to make the team, but they were bad. Our depth isn't that great at most positions, but our third stringers and stuff, yikes. Now, like I said, most of those guys are already not making the team. So some of the names that I remember that got cut, Elijah Holyfield got cut. I figured he would. Kind of a shame because he looked, actually, I thought, pretty decent. Who else do I remember? Huntley got cut. Andre Patton got cut. Mark and Michelle got cut. And there's a couple of those guys, like Michelle and Patton, I kind of liked, but I knew they weren't making the team because we had so many wide receivers through camp and preseason. And you've got Smith, obviously. Ward's not going anywhere. Quez isn't going anywhere. Rager's not going anywhere this early. So it's at 4. I don't know whether they're going to keep 5 or 6. Because at this point, they might end up keeping 4 running backs. Because they might keep Sanders, Howard, Scott, and Kenny G. So they might end up keeping 4 running backs, which means they'll probably only keep 5 receivers, which is upsetting because I think that might mean Hightower's out, which is actually fine. Actually, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, we actually don't really need John Hightower because, what is Hightower? He's just kind of a deep threat, right? We've got Rager, we've got Quez. So I guess at least Hightower is kind of the odd man out. So I guess that works. I think I saw as of maybe about 11 o'clock this morning, the Eagles were 11, 12, 13. I want to say 12 cuts short of making 53, maybe 13. I'm not sure if Nick Mullins had officially been cut yet. I don't think he had. So, that's one, obviously. One that I'm sure Eagles fans will be upset about, but I think it's time anyway. I'm imagining Travis Fulgham gets cut. He did not show up in preseason. I'm looking down the road and I can see what I see happening is the Eagles keeping Arcega-Whiteside and cutting Fulgham, and there's going to be practically an armed revolution, from the Philly fan base. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, who am I? I'm just going to be on the sidelines watching the world burn. But Fulgham didn't show up at all in preseason. Like, at all. He had one catch that I can remember, and it was the one where he fumbled it into the end zone. Did he have other catches throughout preseason? I legitimately don't know. If he did, they weren't memorable, because I watched all 3 games. So if they were small, not memorable catches. From what I understand, Fulgham did not have a tremendously good camp. And even last year, towards the end of the season, his numbers kind of dipped. I mean, he had like 4 good games. 2 of them were really, really good games. But he had like 4 good games. Sometimes that happens, man. You get a guy that comes in and he kind of has a little spark, and that's kind of all he's got. So, is that what happened with Fulgham? Well, it kind of looks like it. Arcega-Whiteside, the front office is going to be more hesitant to let go because I guess he's their guy. And you know what? He made a couple plays in preseason. He had some catches. He had that one really damn good play in the Jets game. Look, I'm not a big J.J. Arcega-Whiteside fan, but I think considering the fact that he had a particularly good couple plays in the last preseason game, I think he had a couple catches in the second preseason game, but none of them were like huge. And the fact that it sounds like JJ had a good camp and Fulgham did not, and Fulgham didn't show up in any of the preseason games, and then he had that fumble. I think it's going to be hard for them to justify to themselves keeping Fulgham over Arcega-Whiteside. That's just how I see it playing out. I guess we'll have to see. Another name I saw on the list of cuts was Jaquette. I've always said Jaquette. I don't know how to actually say it. Here's my thing with him. So, to me, he reminds me of Jalen Mills quite a bit. Plays with a lot of energy, a lot of heart. Pretty solid physical guy, pretty solid tackler. But struggles in coverage. And as a corner, it's kind of tough. You kind of got to be good at that. He's been pretty good, too, in... Jaquette's been pretty good in run support. All right, great. If you're a corner, you really kind of got to cover. And he is not great at that. I can't say I was surprised to see him get cut, but, who knows? Maybe they'll bring him back on the practice squad, maybe work with him a little bit, maybe even look at converting him to safety. It's possible. I don't necessarily strongly dislike the kid. Just got to work on his coverage skills, man. And that's not to say that isn't something that can be taught. Like I said, the kid, he plays physical, plays with energy, plays with heart. Some of his problems are coachable stuff, so who knows? The other thing I will say, just because I thought it was kind of funny, obviously the third team and the fourth team and all those guys, they kind of let the game get away from them, brought it all the way back, and then there was the Hail Mary. And as soon as Morgan let that ball go, I was like, well, yep, it's going to get to the end zone. And it did. And I saw the guy go up, and I was like, huh. Oh, the tight end's up higher than everybody else is. I saw him reach out. I saw him come down with the ball. I was like, okay. Here's the thing. I wasn't even tremendously mad. Like, you know what? All right, fine. That was just kind of my reaction to it. I was like, all right, fine. You know, good play. Whatever. Congratulations. Hail Marys are fun. It's not as fun when it happens against your team, but, you know, in a meaningless preseason game, whatever. Good play. Now, I was very mad the next play, the 2-point conversion, the tackling was fucking miserable. They just handed to the running back, and off he goes into the end zone. I was like, oh my god. I was very upset about that one. Can't lie. But I guess what do you do? It is what it is. And like I said, at this point, preseason's over, so those thoughts were all kind of jumbled. I went back and forth between Jets game and cuts and roster and all that good stuff, and you know, it is what it is. Preseason's over now. Cowboys Bucks, I believe, is that first Thursday night game, which will be next week. I might get back on here and make a video sometime before that to talk about roster once the final 53 is announced. And then we're going to try and hopefully get into the schedule of preview, weekly picks, or, well, first week it'll probably be weekly picks, then preview, then the next week, review of the week, weekly picks, preview. We're going to try and bounce into that whole 3 videos a week thing. And of course, my Twitter will remain active. Aside from that, I'm going to go get back to work and let you guys go and get on with your lives. And I'll probably see you, like I said, I'll probably do something once 53-man is announced. So, with that being said, peace out. Have yourselves a good rest of your day and a good long weekend if I don't see you before that.